Peace, love, and prosperity. Your favorite independent podcaster here, Willmatic TV, reminding you that everybody can't go, but everybody is welcome. The E.B.C.G is a non-discriminatory platform. Everything discussed, disseminated, divulged, and dissected are for the sole purposes of entertainment. Enjoy the show.
Willmatic TV.
I gotta shake and move, but that's the name of the game, and I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to see what this shit is all about right here. Time management. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta take a day off from the 9 to 5. Like, hold on, fam. I can't give y'all my energy today. As a matter of fact, y'all might not see me tomorrow either. At this rate. Yeah, where we at, man? Peace, love, and prosperity. Willmatic TV is my name for your clarity. And in the middle of my intro, Uber Eats would send me a notification, fam. I already ate this. Like, this is being digested as I speak, fam. I didn't need the... Let me just go ahead and put that do not disturb on. Pardon self. Let me get my microphone right. Let me get the levels right. Let's make sure the energy is where it needs to be. This is definitely episode 52 of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. Once again, I am your host, WILLMATIC TV. Appreciate you all for the pull up. Definitely not short of conversations and discussions, on this episode. We definitely have some things that we need to get to. Snowy day in NYC. Where we at? 30 degrees on the East Coast. As the snow falls, as I speak, I am definitely under the weather. You know what I'm saying? I feel like for like the last 3 episodes, I've kind of been under the weather now. Like, I'm not really sure what's out in the air, in the atmosphere right now. But fam, I done got cured, got work. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on. They definitely said, COVID is definitely making its rounds once again. So, everybody, be cautious. I'm definitely not. Listen, as far as, yeah, I'm not taking another vaccine is basically what I'm trying to get to, you know what I'm saying? They already bamboozled us into taking those first shots or whatever. They really mandated it is really what happened. And kind of put people in a position where it was kind of like, all right, fam, do I want to continue to feed myself and my family? Or do I want to be Kyrie in this situation, right? And lose the Nike deal? Like, people had to really make a real decision in real time when that mandate dropped. And all I'm saying is this, fam. Y'all did all of this. Y'all mandated the vaccine. You forced us to put these drugs in our bodies, fam. And I'm just saying, I don't really see what the purpose of it was, considering the fact that, like I said, once again, COVID is back out here, fam. And I have it, fam. I'm almost 100% sure that this is COVID. You know what I'm saying? I kind of was trying to, like, just push through and work through it or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, fam, sometimes you got to sacrifice that bag. You know what I'm saying? For the real bag, which is your health. Because without that, you're not going to be able to make a bag. So I say all that to say this. Everybody take precautions. Get your ginger shots in you. Do everything you got to do. Protect your immune system. Protect your health. You know what I'm saying? During these uncertain times, right? COVID is back with the flu. COVID and the flu. It's a combination, fam. Like the vaccine was. They was giving us 3 different vaccines. This shit is a fucking nightmare. With all that being said, I do feel like I am due for some type of, like, I don't know, man. Some type of, like, I have to switch up. There's something I'm not doing right? When it just comes to, how I take care of myself and my body. And, obviously I feel like a lot of people, sometimes we take for granted basically the things that we kind of get up and do every day. We don't necessarily feel the need. Maybe you don't really feel like you got to go to the gym. Like, nah, I'm good. I could get up. I could ride my bike. But at the end of the day, fam, I say all that to say this. There's definitely some lifestyle and / health changes that I do feel like I need to make. Starting with my diet, I feel like I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good when it comes to, I got a pretty good balance, when it comes to basically, the food I eat. I'm definitely not, the healthiest eater, but at the same time, I definitely like to, implement, a lot of, fruits, vegetables, whether it's through a smoothie or whatever the case may be. I try to just keep it real balanced. And realistically, fam, I do a pretty good job with that. Let me give myself a little bit more credit, right? Because I do feel like I am at a point now where my body is I'm leaning more towards the vegan side of things. You know what I'm saying? Basically, like, I truly don't feel the need. I don't know, man. It's just like, do you really need that chicken sandwich from Popeyes? And it's just like, and then even thinking about just how easy and how accessible they make it for us to get these things, obviously these things are not good for us, right? There's way too many documentaries that, kind of highlight just how detrimental, these foods are that we put into our body, and these additives that they add to the food. It's a whole, fucking monopoly of, them just basically poisoning us through our food, So I say all that to say this. Yeah. I'm definitely looking to make some type of diet change. Change is necessary, When it comes to longevity, I'm 36 now, before I know it, I'm 40. Like, I'm knocking on the 40 club. Like, let's be clear. Like I said, there's certain things that I just don't plan on doing past 40, fam. So I'm trying to kind of start that stuff early. And like I said, I kind of been doing a good job with that. But change is necessary. Change is necessary for our bodies. Change is necessary for my brand. And speaking of that, the Everybody Can't Go podcast, the E.B.C.G podcast IG page is officially up. E.B.C.G podcast on IG. I'm on TikTok now. Listen, fam. I'm just out here experimenting, dibbling and dabbling. Like I said, I'm not necessarily, interested in, being famous, right? As far as my face, I don't even, realistically, fam, I don't even really want, I'm looking at different logos now, right? For the brand. And I kind of already have what I have. And that's kind of just like a filler. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like a temporary placeholder for the time being until I kind of really figure out, the direction I want to go. Obviously, when it comes to creating a brand, one of the most important key factors of that is having that identity, right? Obviously, we kind of see, perfect example of that, right? We see it all the time when we go to shop, and you might see a certain designer brand, and it might not be that far off from something that's basically on the clearance rack, right? It could literally, I've seen they've taken the exact designs. We basically paying for logos, right? We're paying for brands. We're paying for the identity of the brand. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So with that being said, E.B.C.G podcast right now, that's kind of just the top priority, is building the identity of the brand. Because the product is here, right? The product is there. I just need to basically, convince the world that the product is there. And the way that you do that is by identifying your brand. I'm definitely getting off a lot on the intro that I really didn't even plan on We already 10 minutes in. All right, let me take again at the docket again. Yeah, like I said, man, January 19th, 2024. This is episode 52 of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. Let me not hold y'all up any further, man. Let's get into some topics, man. Let's get into some current events. Let's get into some news. Let's disseminate, dissect, and divulge. Huh? I know y'all heard. Shout out to me with my, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had to put a little disclaimer. I just feel like, listen, man, 52 episodes in, I've said a lot on this microphone, right? Well, not this microphone. I just got this, right? But I've said a lot over the airwaves, and, like I said, man, from time to time, I go back and I listen to, episodes, and I'm not even going to lie, man. I couldn't be more pleased with the catalog at this current time. Like, because even with the mic not even being the best mic, like I said, the product is still there. What's beef? Huh? That's the question. So let me see, man. What we doing? What's going on out here, man? What's going on out here in these podcast streets, man? On the blogosphere. Yeah, definitely. The Emmys. Let's get into some Emmys, man. Because at the end of the day, I'm not necessarily, I'm not really an award show guy. Let me be more specific. I don't watch television, right? If it's not the E.B.C.G podcast or another podcast, shout out to every podcast because I'm definitely, really, really big on, I'm a student, right? And I'm pretty much, if you have a podcast, there's a good chance that Willmatic TV is tuned in and taking notes. So the 75th annual Emmys, took place, what was this, last week? I'm somewhat late with the review. Like I said, I'm not really a big award show guy, but I do have a podcast. So, we have to kind of recap. And, I do feel like something did take place that was worth recapping, quite frankly. And what took place was Quinta Brunson, the creator of the, hit show series Abbott Elementary. And I believe this was the first nomination and win for a black female comedic, actress in a hit series in 10 years. So we do want to salute Quinta Brunson, who I do feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like Quinta Brunson is basically, I feel like she's kind of like the female Chappelle in a way, right? And I'm not saying this to diminish, her, right? Because she's Quinta Brunson. But what I'm saying is this. She kind of found a niche and kind of carved a lane where it's kind of like, she's basically good on both sides, if you understand what I'm saying. She could play on either side of the fence, right? And like I said, I'm not the biggest television guy. Like, I wouldn't be able to name one character off of that show, Abbott Elementary, unfortunately, right? It's just not enough time in the day for me, man. I just can't see myself rushing home to... and then again, yeah, you have Hulu, you have all these different apps. It's just overwhelming at this point, fam. How much things can I consume, right? So Abbott Elementary, like I said, I'm aware of the show because obviously it's a hit show. And I do feel like every award show, they kind of acknowledge the show. So I say all that to say this. Clearly, Quinta Brunson knows what she's doing, right? The show is a hit. She's winning awards left and right. She obviously won this Emmy, and I seen her acceptance speech, and it was, obviously it was a moment. And although I'm not the biggest fan of television and, I might not be too familiar with the show, what I do understand is that, black females in Hollywood, at this current time, an accolade, such as what Quinta Brunson just achieved at the Emmys, is not something that should be understated, too often. black women in Hollywood. I mean, and we were just having a conversation about Taraji P. Henson on the last episode, right? Where she basically was highlighting, how too often black females in Hollywood are overlooked and underappreciated, right? So when you see it, kind of play out in reverse and, you kind of see somebody being celebrated, what I will say is this, we definitely want to see that list just grow a little bit more. I feel like Quinta Brunson, is one. We had a couple of wins, though. Who was that? Niecy Nash. Niecy Nash, I'm not 100% sure what the nomination was, but I definitely seen, I guess at this point, the viral acceptance speech, and I do feel like, what I'm saying, it's mixed feelings for that. Basically, when it comes to, I see people basically saying that, I don't know, man, and this is kind of like, I hate to be the party pooper here. And this is not even necessarily my perspective, but I like to kind of share all perspectives on the E.B.C.G podcast, right? So we want to highlight the fact that, yes, we see that we're winning at these award shows, but at the same time, there is a conversation, right? A quiet conversation about basically how we conduct ourselves at these award shows, right? In other words, do we need to do less? Like basically, do we validate these award shows or do these award shows validate us? Right? I do feel like it does seem like, I don't know, man. Like the dog, you know what I'm saying? Getting excited for a Scooby snack or something, like for a dog treat, man. We shouldn't be foaming at the mouth and, basically, what's the word I'm looking for, fam? It's not it shouldn't be, we should have our own award show, fam. I don't even know how else to say it, bro. Where's our own award show, fam? Why is it that we need their awards for us to feel like we won? In other words, like, don't you feel like you won just by creating the great art that you created? Do you not feel like you won? Maybe because you're not playing a character that you actually feel like you want to play. Maybe it's because we're not creating our own shows. Outside of Quinta Brunson, like I said, who we do like to see, up there in a winning position. But like I said, man, I do feel like at this point, we kind of do need our own, just our own award show, man, and our own, kind of ceremony, I know that Nas kind of got the ball rolling on that, with that, I believe, is it the Grand Master Awards, where he's basically acknowledging, some of the great pioneers of hip hop and, obviously this being the 50th year, right, of that amazing genre known as hip hop. And trust and believe, we gonna get into some hip hop talk a little later on in the episode. Because the blogosphere is kind of, it's buzzing right now. There's a lot of talk, it's a lot of conversations, and hip hop seems to be the topic in demand. And if hip hop is a conversation, Willmatic TV has to chime into the conversation. You already know that Willmatic TV, anywhere hip hop is being discussed, Willmatic TV is not far away from that conversation, right? We're going to get into that a little bit later. I say all that to say this. Salute to Nas for creating that award show, right? The Emmys is cool, but I do feel like we need to stop. I mean, let me just say this the way I know how to say it, which is bluntly and honestly, right? We need to do less crying and basically going on stage and, you know what I'm saying? Niecy Nash went up there. What she said? And I get it. Like I said, once again, I get it. But if we continue to keep going on that stage and basically acting as if, we never had anything and this is kind of like, now you finally gave me the validation I needed. I've been doing this for 30 years. Some of these actresses have been in the game for such a long time that it's kind of like, fam, you really didn't need this award to validate you. All of the great work that you have done should be or should feel like the validation, right? The only reason that it doesn't feel that way is because we're not creating a lot of these shows. Like I said, if we was more in control of the content and the characters that we portrayed in Hollywood, I don't feel like we would need this validation, fam. I know we got there's a lot of, don't get me wrong, what's the new the Book of Clarence, right? Which I haven't gotten a chance to watch yet. It's a lot of shit I didn't get a chance to look at yet or listen to, or you got new music out. I still ain't get to the 21 Savage album. I've been hearing, a couple tracks here and there, you know what I'm saying, out and about, outside. They definitely have that album playing and it's in rotation right now, right? The young boys is loving it. I hear it on the, you know what I'm saying, they got their portable speakers and shit. You feel me? I see what's going on, man. Salute to 21, right? We got some new music. We got new movies. We got Emmys. Oh, right. So yeah. I'm not off the Emmys yet. I'm definitely not off the Emmys yet. Salute to Quinta Brunson. Salute to Niecy Nash. Christina Applegate as well. Who, obviously, pardon me. Who obviously, also had a nice moment on stage. She received a standing ovation. I'm not really sure if this was her first Emmy or what the situation was, but obviously I do know, or I am aware of the fact that, she did suffer. I don't want to misspeak on the medical term. I'm not sure exactly. This might have been was this a stroke? I'm not sure, but she obviously had some, medical mishaps in the past, you know what I mean? So for her to be able to walk on the stage, it was obviously a moment, just wanted to highlight that moment as well. And obviously, Married with Children, come on, fam. Who didn't grow up with Married with Children on? At some point, you had Married with Children on the television, fam, is what I'm saying. I definitely used to cut school, and that was like one of the shows that, you know what I'm saying, was definitely in rotation during those hours, right? It was certain shows that you knew if this show was on at this time, you definitely was way later than you needed to be, right? And 9 times out of 10, I would just be like, you know what? I'm going to just sit it out today. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to watch Married with Children and shit. Yeah, I used to, anyway. Another one of the shows that I used to watch and used to enjoy, right? Speaking of television shows, right? And like I said, to prefix, you know what I'm saying, my Emmy topic, I'm not the biggest television guy, right? There's not too many television shows that I could say at this current time that I'm really, a fan of, right? I'm like an old, I kind of go back to the vintage classics. The Fresh Princes of Bel-Air, the Family Matters, the Martins. And Martin and the Martin Show and the Martin cast, in my opinion, the greatest cast ever assembled, arguably, is the Martin Show. And they definitely brought Martin and the cast, some of the cast, obviously, rest in peace, Tommy Ford. Obviously, Tommy Ford wasn't there. But, they had Cold Air. You know what I'm saying? Carl. I want to get. What's their actual names, though? I don't want to even call them. I feel like it's kind of disrespectful to be calling these people by their character 30 years later and shit, right? Carl Payne. Listen, man. Tashina Arnold, Tisha Campbell, Martin Lawrence. Y'all know the goddamn cast, fam. It's the greatest cast ever assembled for a television show. But I do want to take a moment. To speak on, the fact that they absolutely, how do I want to even say this? They violated Martin Lawrence, fam, and the Martin cast on that Emmy stage. Now, this is the thing. I wasn't even aware of the fact that the Martin Show never received, I don't even think they received a nom, let alone won an actual Emmy, right? I'm just now being made aware of this. I've been enjoying this show for so goddamn long. Honestly, and this is my point about this whole validation from these award shows thing. As a fan, as a consumer, it really doesn't make any difference to me if Martin and the Martin Show have received an Emmy or an Emmy nom for that matter. However, when you're operating in that realm or that realm of film and television, we get it. These are the boxes that you need to check off in order for you to climb, in your field and basically ultimately excel in your field and become, one of the best at what you do. And obviously, like I said, the show is so popular and it's been on for so long that we just been enjoying the show. It didn't even really dawn on me that they haven't won an Emmy. I just would have assumed they definitely got an Emmy nom, at least 4 or 5 of those. For them to never have even received a nomination or a win is crazy to me, right? But that's not even the part that's disrespectful, right? And that's definitely disrespectful to the Martin Show and all of the hard work. I mean, come on, man. This man played so many goddamn characters. I mean, literally, it was like Eddie Murphy on television every night. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing this every night. It was episode to episode basis, right? And obviously, we know what Martin has done in film, right? He's done a film with Eddie Murphy, right? What was that, Life? Martin is obviously one of our greats. I say all that to say this. They came up with this idea. I'm not even sure whose idea it was. They brought the Martin cast on the Emmy stage in 2024. They recreated the set. They did the whole thing, right? Now, in my mind, when I seen it initially, I'm thinking, oh, this is about to be dope, right? They brought the Martin set to the Emmy stage. I was getting ready to watch an episode of Martin, basically, right? That was the most interesting part of the Emmys for me, right? Like, oh shit, the Martin show's on. So you see the set, you kind of get that nostalgic moment. Man, they hit the lights. They pulled them damn curtains back, fam. Martin, Gina, Penn. Now, what I will say is this. As far as, Cole, Pam, and Gina, clearly they stayed up the night before and they rehearsed, right? They was ready to go, right? It damn near looked like they didn't even miss a beat. You just damn near like the show was on last week, right? And this is another episode or something, right? Like they was right back in character. Cole was ready. Pam was ready. Gina was ready. They had a little moment, you know what I'm saying? I thought that it was, clever. The moment that Gina and Pam had and, Cole being Cole. Everything was all good. But it wasn't until you kind of see Martin's face and his reaction to what was going on up there that, you know what I'm saying? It didn't really dawn on you until it was Martin's turn, right? Like now it's Martin's cue, right? Martin comes on, like I don't know, man. He just looked like, I don't know. I don't really even know. They started to say things like, oh, it was a lot of speculation, quite frankly. A lot of fans were concerned. Me personally, I took something from it completely different than everybody else, I guess. What it looked like to me is that Martin was embarrassed up there, right? I mean, that's what I took from the situation, right? A lot of people, was speculating other things. Like maybe Martin isn't, doing so well right now. And obviously, like I said, we opened up the episode talking about how COVID is back out here, fam. And I'm dealing with it right now. Facts. So we know that, yeah. A lot of people might be dealing with different health, ailments and different things might be going on with people. But at the same time, fam, this notion that Martin went on the Emmy stage, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have been there if he was that sick, number one. Number two, he probably was sick. And the only thing I could think of is maybe the fact that, I don't know, you bring me to the Emmy stage for me to recreate a show that obviously impacted the culture, impacted television, but we're not going to actually receive an Emmy nom for this shit. This show is still in syndication. I feel like they even mentioned that while they was up there, obviously joking while they were saying it, right? Because they were all in character. Martin wasn't in character, fam. I say all that to say this, man. We so used to Martin being the guy You know, Martin is always the one in character and outperforming everybody. Martin was up there looking like he was ready to throw up, fam. Like, get me off of this goddamn stage. It looked like it was a contractual obligation more than him actually wanting to do that. I'm not even really sure whose idea it was, but I low-key feel like they kind of violated Martin by bringing him to the Emmy show. Just to, low-key to remind everybody. Even Anthony Anderson got some Emmys. And he even said that. And that was when it really dawned on me. Like, hold on. You trying to tell me that Anthony Anderson, whose best role, as far as I'm concerned, Malibu's Most Wanted was Anthony Anderson's best role to me, fam. You trying to tell me that Malibu's Most Wanted got an Emmy before Martin? I mean, listen, man. Like I said, I don't watch the Emmys. I probably won't ever watch it again after this. Yeah, we boycotting the Emmys, man. If Martin don't get an Emmy, fam, within the next, you know what I'm saying, by the time when is the next Emmys? A year from now? I don't know, man. We got to make that happen, fam. But Martin definitely did not look pleased up there, to say the least. Cat Williams got an Emmy before Martin. Damn, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. Cat Williams definitely got an Emmy. What was that? A year ago or so? You know. He did a show with Childish Gambino. What was that, Atlanta? Whatever the name of the goddamn show was. Salute to Cat Williams for getting an Emmy before Martin, though. That's kind of crazy, low-key. Like, Cat Williams could talk his shit a little bit. Like, when you have an Emmy, considering the fact that the Martin show doesn't have one yet, I'm pretty sure an Emmy is, you know what I'm saying? Not the easiest thing in the world to. So that was my Emmys recap. That's pretty much all I had on that. I'm not really sure if anything else crazy even took place. Those were the two highlight moments. I feel like they did violate the Martin cast, though. I'm not really sure what that was about or how I felt about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how I feel about that. And I'm definitely not really sure how I felt about Lil Nas X's apology. You know what? Hold on, man. Let me just do this right now on mic, on the podcast in real time. I have to stop calling this kid Nas. Right? Like, there is never, like, let me go ahead. I'm definitely gonna bleep that all the way out, fam. We have to end this in 2024, fam. Like, out of all of the antics and all of the, the trolling and the whatever, what is it called now, huh? Clout chasing, huh? Riz, whatever you guys want to call it, man. Pause, by the way, if applicable. What I'm saying is this. Little X, that is the name that we're going to call you from now on. I'm not calling him Nas, right? I feel like that's blasphemous. I feel like, like I said, we see what Nas is out here doing. I feel like Nas has done a far too thorough job of, basically carving out a name for himself and being a stand-up individual, delivering quality albums with great messaging. We just can't, correlate those two things. And I do feel like Little X is a more appropriate name for this individual. I don't really know what else would we even call? Why would we be calling this kid Nas, right? What's the latest story with Little X? Well, more of the same. I mean, I'm not really, this is definitely one of the individuals who don't usually make it to the docket, just for the simple fact that I just feel like personally, as an entertainer, as an artist, if that's the field you're in, and if that's what you're portraying yourself to be, I just feel like at a certain point there has to be some talent involved in what you're doing. And at this point, for me, Little X just hasn't really shown me anything that's worthy of basically highlighting or applauding, right? I'm just talking about from a talent perspective. Old Town Road was all right. It was a little bop. I get it. But is a little bop talent, right? I feel like everybody got a little bop, right? Sweetie got a bop. Everybody can make a bop when And at what point are we going to start honing in and focusing on people's talent? Little X is apologizing now, right? And why is he apologizing? Well, he went on, and listen, man, at this point, we kind of see the trajectory that, this kid has been on, since he entered the industry. And quite frankly, man, this whole LGBTQ thing, this is the whole thing, right? And this is why you'll run into more people who are opposed to what the LGBT community stands for as a whole. Not what people's personal beliefs are, right? And what people go home and do in the confines and the privacy of their own homes, right? We're not speaking about that. We're speaking about just solely from the perspective of community and basically how you're representing your brand, basically. This is a horrible representation for any community. And I just feel like the LGBTQ community, you've been so vocal, huh? Every time Chappelle drops a stand-up, we were just speaking about this last episode, right? He just put out another one, Dreamers, and they want to cancel that. Y'all so focused on what a comedian is doing, but I see people within your community doing shit that I just can't even, like where is the outcry? Like, when, at what point, I don't even know who their leader is, but at what point do you guys come out to condemn your own actions, right? And the stuff that you are contributing to society that are not beneficial. It's just not beneficial, fam. There's nothing else to take away from this. And I'm low-key trying to dance around it. Pause. Because I don't really do too much dancing when a Little X song is on. As a matter of fact, I don't even hear it. I didn't even see the video. But apparently a video came out, right? Let's just get to the meat and potatoes here, fam. Because I'm beating around the bush. Little X is continuing to troll and make a mockery out of religion. Now, this is the thing. Willmatic TV, I don't claim to be the most religious figure. I'm no pope. But what I'm saying is, I kind of know how to just kind of, accept things from a distance, accept things from afar. I leave it where it's at, fam. I don't really play with other things that don't, if it don't really got nothing to do with me, I leave it alone, is what I'm saying, right? I don't feel the need to make a mockery out of somebody's religion. I just don't even see, once again, the talent. I don't see the talent in this. And that's just kind of where it's at for me. What did he do? He had the one video before where he had, imagery of, the devil in the video, and he giving the devil, lap dances, and that was one thing. I still haven't even seen that, by the way, right? I try to avoid, this kind of stuff. Like I said, this is not really something that really hit the docket. You feel me? And realistically, fam, my timeline, this stuff I don't really see all of this stuff. But because I'm such a student, I've been making my realms. And like I said, I low-key really wanted to drop, this episode is a little later than it should have been, right? So I've been having time to kind of catch up on what's been going on. So I've been hearing other people's takes about the situation or whatever the case may be. And I don't know, man. I don't know what to say, man. So then he comes back after he does another, he was on the cross, right? So that was the latest, imagery that was being used. Apparently he put himself on the cross. He came back, obviously, a lot of people were in an uproar, including Kai Cenat, who, obviously is a, popular streamer. And, I do feel like, I don't know, man. Mixed feelings there, just for the simple fact that Kai Cenat, sometimes we not really kind of sure what you're contributed. You know what I'm saying? With your streams, just not too long ago, you was doing a whole stream where you basically was making a mockery out of prison, right? So I don't know, man. I do feel like, I feel like it's a lot of, babies, raising babies, right? You know what I'm saying? And I do feel like, obviously, the internet is kind of, listen, man, the internet is clearly raising these kids at this current time, fam. I don't really know why Little X is continuing to troll religion. But what I will say is, in my opinion, this has to be the most untalented artist of all time, fam. Like at a certain point, you're just relying on shock value. There's no talent, and that's the reason why you have to do the things you do. And this is the only way he could create a conversation about himself. You never hear anybody talking about a Little Nas, a Little X, anything lyrical, right? What's his best line in a song, fam? What's his best hook in a song outside of Old Town Road and shit, right? Which is like, after he did that, we didn't get another one of those, fam. And I'm not gonna hold you, I was kind of, before the antics and stuff was kind of, I did feel like that was a slap, you feel me? But at the same time, it's like, all right, fam, where the next one at now? Now you giving the devil a lap dance, you on the cross. It's just all shock value. It's all low-hanging fruit. No pun intended. He did an apology video wearing a bonnet, fam. I clicked off of that shit so fast. It's like, bro, your apology is a troll. I seen people talking about, oh, no, he's really being sincere now. I've never seen him really apologize and be serious. He's sitting there with a bonnet on, fam. Like, I'm not really sure. I just don't know what to take away from this kid, right? I'm not interested, right? And it has nothing to do with anybody's sexual preference, fam. I want to make that very, very clear. It just seems to me that everybody within your organization on that side, I don't know, man. They just doing things that just seem to be, that's just a little too outlandish for me, fam. And we need to stop calling him Nas. Facts. Let me go on record and say that, by the way. I know Nas is mad as hell. Every time he hear a headline and his name is in the headline, fam, then you gotta look and see Nas did the cross thing too, fam. But I mean that was just a little different. The way he kind of, like, the lyrics in that, I don't know, man. And obviously, yeah. Realistically, fam, is that the first or the last time we've seen somebody kind of use that religious iconography to kind of basically, what I'm saying, paint a picture in a music video, whatever the case may be? No, it's not. But at the same time, fam, if this is all you have to offer, at a certain point, I'm going to start questioning if there's any talent there to begin with, right? I don't really have much else to say about that other than the fact that we have to stop calling this kid Nas. This is the 50th year. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, hip hop, we've done too much of a thorough job to get this shit where it is, right? We cannot allow on the cross. Yeah. Most untalented entertainer of all time. The award goes to Little X. That's your Emmy, fam. From Willmatic TV, fam. You are the most untalented artist ever. Go to Stewart's, like, what? And my thing is, fam, I don't know, man. Just do films if that's the, like, if you want to just do outlandish imagery, I just feel like you might be in the wrong field, fam. You might be in the wrong field. You might really need to be in films, realistically, fam. Yeah. Go sit with the director and, you know what I'm saying? He had that Nike. Yeah, it's just too much, fam. It's too much. Michael Strahan and his daughter, we definitely want to just take a brief moment to send a prayers and condolences to Michael Strahan, who, just recently revealed his 18-year-old daughter, unfortunately, was diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer, which, medulloblastoma, if I pronounced that correctly. Listen, man, I'm over here with a little chest cold, I got a little COVID in my chest right now, and that's kind of, driving me up a wall right there. Listen, man, I prayers, man, just prayers, man. That's a different kind of obstacle to kind of, try to fight and overcome. A rare form of brain cancer does not sound like, any fun, right? To say the least. And it's so crazy. It's so crazy, man, that I'm even speaking about this on this episode, because I literally ran into Michael Strahan a week prior to me even hearing about this, right? A week prior to the announcement, right? I seen Michael Strahan in the city, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt like Michael Strahan had smoke for me just for the simple fact that, his energy, and when I seen him, I kind of gave him like, the head nod. What up, Mike? And he looked at me like I was basically like, bro, he gave me the most disgusted look. And in my mind, I was like, damn, like why he looked at me like that, man? Michael Strahan not for the people, bro. And I kind of walked away from it, not really. And it just goes to show you never know what someone's dealing with, man. He was dealing with that in real time. You know what I'm saying? And obviously that's not something that's easy to deal with. So like I said, we just want to send prayers and condolences to Michael Strahan and his daughter. We want to wish them yeah, man, just the best on their journey, to recovery. As I speak on Michael Strahan and I speak on his daughter, I guess it's only right that I, send prayers and condolences to Snoop Dogg and his daughter as well, who unfortunately, at 24 years old, just suffered, a stroke, which, obviously, it's been documented that, Snoop Dogg's daughter, Corey Brodus, has been dealing with, different medical mishaps over the years, and it's just unfortunate, man, to see somebody that age, so young, kind of, almost, I want to just say being robbed, basically, of, just the joy of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine being, I don't know, man. I was fortunate in the sense that I never really had to deal with anything in that regard. I've definitely had, injuries and things of that nature, but never anything so severe, especially at a young age. Obviously, that's something that you kind of, expect to deal with when you get older, right? And another, if I'm being honest, I started this episode speaking on just basically making certain changes, right? Getting up there in age, you got to start looking at, the things that you were doing when you were younger. You can't keep doing this stuff in your older age. So when I see young people dealing with, these different health scares, and that's even more of a reason for me to switch up the diet at this point. Like let me get to that while I still can, basically, right? Let's not wait till something really, really crazy happens. And now you basically just can't take your health for granted, is basically what I'm saying, right? And when you see stories like this, it just makes that even much more clear, right? 24 is very young. And this is 24, 24, man. Significance there is this is 24, year 24, right? 2024 is Mamba year. I don't know, man. Hopefully, she can kind of push through and basically recover. We're wishing her a speedy recovery as well. Yeah, it's never easy to really, talk about anything when it comes to obviously Snoop. That's Uncle Snoop, you know what I'm saying? We definitely wish them the best. Michael Strahan and his daughter, yeah, brain cancer is crazy. I'm not even gonna hold you. I feel like now that I'm kind of already like, we talking about, I guess, yeah, so, okay. A man was definitely shot and killed on the 3 train, a couple days ago. Yeah, a man shot and killed on the 3 train, Franklin Avenue train station. This the thing, right? I don't really know what can really be. I mean, this the thing. The police presence, right? I want to highlight police presence. Let me pause it though. Yeah, so obviously, as a New Yorker, the train, obviously we kind of already know what the situation is. And I just don't understand how they can add police presence, right? And I'm on the train every day, right? The police presence added to the train is clearly not changing anything, right? If a man can be shot and killed, we seen a man get choked. They choked a man out on the train. It just seems like the crime rate went up when they added police presence. And quite frankly, at this point, my tax dollars, fam, and it's tax season right now, I ain't even get all my W-2s, fam. I just feel like, give me my tax dollars back, bro. What are we paying for? These guys are in the train and people are getting shot on the train. I don't really know what the circumstances was here. Obviously, mental illness had to play a factor. I would just assume, right? If you feel the need to pull out a gun on the train, fam, and if you would even do something like that on a crowded train, I mean, obviously, you're not all the way mentally there. I just feel like as far as the police presence, at this point, you might as well put the army in there, fam. You might as well I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not really sure how you really eliminate the crime that's going on the train, fam. If the police presence isn't slowing it down, I'm just saying, fam. I'm just saying they too busy grabbing people, trying to make sure nobody hopping the turnstile. That's what the police presence is for, low key, right? They want to make sure ain't nobody hopping the turnstile. You don't even have to pay for they don't even accept Metro cards on the bus anymore, fam. People are just getting on the bus for free. I'm not sure what's going on. The MTA clearly has to be revamped at this point. We need to just completely abolish the whole system, fam. Fire everybody. And we need to start this thing fresh. I'm not sure if we're going to have to, at this point, we might need the AIs for this, right? And the AIs don't sound like a bad idea when you start, realizing that there's certain areas where we just can't use humans to do the job. And clearly the MTA is one of those areas, man. The police presence isn't working. They got the conductors still standing there behind the glass booth. They disgusted with you. They don't even want to talk to you. I can't even get a transfer. Like, you mad? Let's get some AIs in here and let the AIs take care of this train station, fam. It's not going in the right direction, right? And I'm not really sure. Is Eric Adams even still the mayor? Like, where he been at, fam? After the feds ran down on him, I haven't really heard much from Eric Adams. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not really sure what's going on. I do know it's an election year though, right? And Trump over there cleaning up. From what I'm seeing, where he just won some shit, the Ohio Secaucus. I don't know. Listen, man, Trump looking like he getting ready to spin the block. I don't know. Police presence in the train stations are clearly not stopping the crime though. And rest in peace to the gentleman who was shot and killed on the 3 train. I don't have his name, but rest in peace to him. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last violent incident that we see on the train. Every day I'm on the train, I'm ready to knock somebody out. So realistically, fam, I might be the next story. I'm not going to be the next story. God willing anyway, right? You got one, isn't it? Is some guy on the loose right now stabbing people or some shit in Queens? Like shit like that. Like you just never know, man. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Listen, man, you gotta keep your head on a swivel out here, man. Big Jook. The brother of, Yo Gotti was gunned down at a funeral repast. And this is one of those situations, again, that, it's kind of, gunned down near his mom. It's a sticky situation to say the least. I'm not 100%, familiar with who Big Jook is. Obviously, I know who Yo Gotti is. And at this point, I don't really know what to say. I do feel like this is not it's not an isolated incident, like that situation that occurred on the 3 train. I believe that was just a random isolated situations. You have those situations that occur, but then sometimes some things may be a little bit deeper than the surface. And this does appear to be a situation that kind of, has a lot of layers to it, to say the least, right? And, for somebody to be For somebody to want to gun you down in front of your mom and shoot you over 10 times at a funeral repast, I think it's safe to say that, that individual was harvesting a lot of, hate, to say the very least. And I'm trying to kind of slow walk the dog here. Um, Rest in peace, Young Dolph. I do want to say that as well because unfortunately, obviously, Young Dolph, who is another Memphis native, which is where this took place and occurred. This was in Memphis. Obviously, Big Jook, Yo Gotti, these are Memphis natives. And basically, what the streets is saying right now, quite frankly, is that this was basically the get back. You know what I'm saying, for Young Dolph. It has been rumored. I'm not so much tapped in with the street news in Memphis, right? So I'm gonna say rumored and allegedly because, like I said, I just don't know, right? Outside of the Memphis Grizzlies, I know John Morant got an injury right now, fam. That's the extent of my Memphis news. I don't know what's going on in the Memphis streets, right? I was aware of Young Dolph and everything that he was doing. Wasn't really a big fan of the music, right? But of course, obviously, that's irrelevant. When we're talking about somebody being gunned down and passed away, like at that point, it's bigger than the music, right? Obviously, the music is something that he was doing to kind of help provide for his family. And I mean, from what I understand, Young Dolph was well on the way, or well on his way. When it came to doing that, he was an independent artist. And, from what I understand, he was, one of the more successful independent artists, right? And, there's kind of a lot of history and back and forth between himself and Yo Gotti's camp. And obviously Big Jook being the big brother of Yo Gotti. There was some tension there, right? So the word on the street is that Big Jook is actually responsible for Young Dolph's untimely demise, right? They said he put a hit out on Young Dolph, is what they said, right? For $500 or whatever it was, right? $5,000. I don't know what the dollar amount was. But what they're saying right now is that this was, in fact, the get back for Young Dolph. And I mean, listen, man, the streets was the streets before Willmatic TV existed, right? So I mean, it's kind of just one of those things where you kind of, if you live by the gun, I mean, how many times have we heard that, right? And if Big Jook is in fact responsible for another man's death, then I mean, realistically, fam, you should know. Anybody in the streets knows that it's only a matter of time when you playing a certain, you know what I'm saying? If you playing on that side of the fence, fam, I don't really know what else to say other than, just prayers and condolences for everybody involved. Young Gotti, I'm not sure if he put out any statement or anything like that, yet. Obviously, he's still kind of, probably grieving and dealing with the loss of his brother, I'm not even sure what funeral they was at, but obviously they was already grieving and dealing with they was at a funeral, right? This happened at a funeral, right? So it's just that vicious cycle. It's just that vicious cycle that, we've continuously seen over the years, and I truly just feel like, I don't know, man. I don't really know how, how do you put an end to something that, is being funded and, kind of perpetuated and, when you have a certain amount of people, I mean, they benefit off this violence, right? And Yo Gotti is one of those artists who I do feel like Angela Simmons better be careful over there too. Because realistically, fam, like Yo Gotti to me, I feel like I don't know, man. Does he even rap anymore, fam? It's just like a mob now, fam. Like it's certain people like Jay Prince, Yo Gotti. I just don't really understand what it is exactly that they're trying to contribute. Obviously, Yo Gotti has a stable over there, artists who, are currently doing their thing. Whatever the case may be. You got Glorilla. It's a whole list of those, you know what I'm saying? What's boy name, man? I can't remember, but he out here killing it too. obviously, yeah, he has a stable of artists, and as far as him being an exec, I guess he doing his thing in that regard. But at the same time, fam, it's kind of like you can't have one foot in business and one foot in the streets and not expect for the business to kind of be affected at a certain point. That doesn't seem to be a method or a formula that has been proven to be successful for anybody at this point, right? You don't really see too many people keep one foot in the streets and keep one foot in. You kind of at a certain point, you got to make that decision. Like, fam, I'm gonna either be all in on this or I'm gonna be all in on that, right? And at this point, I'm not really sure if Yo Gotti, he definitely gonna have to make some changes, basically going forward if he's really serious about being a music mogul, right? I'm pretty sure Quincy Jones wasn't. Pause, by the way. Anyway, Quincy, they definitely forced me to look at that and examine that Ludacris clip. It got to me. Yeah, I definitely seen that clip, man. A Ludacris. Anyway, the handhold is kind of crazy, man. That freestyle don't really hit that. You know what I'm saying? The freestyle don't sound the same after I watch and examine that clip, man. Because if you look at the way he held his hand, it wasn't like, you go to give somebody the dap. It's kind of like your hand is turned that way. That was like a palm to palm. I'm not sure what's going on with Quincy Jones and Ludacris, fan. We're going to move on, though. We do want to say peace, love, prosperity, and condolences to Yo Gotti and his camp. Big Jook, like I said once again, wasn't too familiar with the brother. But what I do know is that, if you're living by the gun, it's only a matter of time. We're going to get off of that now. I feel like Just Hilarious and The Breakfast Club. TMZ recently, ran up on Charlemagne, and they basically asked the question, where is Just Hilarious, right? Just Hilarious recently, obviously, since the departure of Angela Yee at The Breakfast Club, they've kind of been doing guest hosts, and they've kind of been trying to, basically find a new host and a new fit for Charlemagne and Envy. And I do feel like they found that with Just Hilarious. Unfortunately, it only lasted for 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks, man. Just Hilarious is nowhere to be found on the Breakfast Club iHeart airwaves, man. She did a couple of shows with them, and obviously, I feel like, yeah, they kind of found the right fit. And I'm not really sure what took place or what occurred, but apparently Just Hilarious is no longer the third host of The Breakfast Club, man. I feel like she just put the announcement on her IG like last week too, right? Which is crazy, right? So it seemed like they made it official. And, within a matter of days, that changed. I'm not really sure what the exact reason for it is. Charlemagne said he wasn't happy about it. So obviously, they wanted Jess, right? And I would assume she wanted that opportunity, but for whatever reason, iHeart and Jess couldn't come to, terms on a contract, which I believe is what, is being speculated. That, there was some, differences with the contract or, negotiations. So, yeah, right now, where does that leave Just Hilarious? I don't know. Just Hilarious is a free agent, though. And I hit up in the DMs, fam. And like I said, the E.B.C.G podcast, I'm over here, listen, man, I'm looking to expand the brand in 2024. And I'm just saying, me and Just Hilarious, huh? I'm just saying, the Carefully Reckless podcast and the E.B.C.G, we might have to do a little mashup, fam. And just see what's what here, right? I'm just saying, I feel like Just Hilarious is definitely very talented. You know what I'm saying? She got a lot of potential. I feel like she's definitely on the brink of, she gonna get her own show at some point. You know what I'm saying? She has the podcast right now. And either way, regardless of the fact, if she's not gonna be the host, she's still got the look. And that's low key all that really matters. And for all we know, that's probably all she really wanted out of this situation. Like, let me just come on there for a couple of weeks. I don't necessarily want to. I feel like she want to kind of do her comedy shows and she's trying to move around and do different things. She's not necessarily ready to make a commitment to the company, right? As a permanent stay, because she probably still want to move around and get, pick up the extra bags that she could pick up doing different shows or whatever the case may be. And she's out here doing a lot of shows, I follow her on the IG. So I do see the movements that's being made. I'm not really sure where that leaves the Breakfast Club as far as the third host. But I do feel like there's other candidates out there, man. They'll figure something out, right? You know what I'm saying? And realistically, how long does the Breakfast Club even, like, how many more years left of the Breakfast Club at this point, right? It just seems like, I don't know, man. Envy over there quietly dealing with the lawsuit and shit. We ain't forget about that. I think he about to take the stand too, which, it is what it is. One of the, probably one of the biggest stories of 2023, was the whole surviving Diddy. Obviously Cassie, came out with a lawsuit. And I don't know, man. Ever since then, it's just kind of been all bad for Diddy. And the most recent report in regards to Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, is that, he is no longer the owner of Ciroc. Apparently there was a lawsuit with claims of racial prejudice against the company Diego, who I guess was the parent company of, the distributors of the Ciroc, which is obviously the popular alcohol that Diddy was promoting for years. I remember seeing billboards in like '08, right? Diddy been, waving that flag for a long time. So obviously for things to kind of end this way, clearly that wasn't the plan. And I will say that I don't really necessarily enjoy seeing this play out this way. I do feel like, I just feel like if this man is guilty of half of the things that they said he was guilty of, we need to see this man behind bars at this point, right? Like, don't just show me him losing all of the, because it's starting to kind of feel like, I don't know, man. We seen it happen to Ye, now Diddy. It does feel like, all right, fam, what they gonna come for Jay-Z next? Is that when shit gonna really hit the fan? Because realistically, I do feel like I don't agree with the way they're going about any of this stuff, man. Any of it. It doesn't feel organic, and it doesn't feel like it's being handled in a manner. Like, what's the main priority here, right? Because are all of these women, are we even like making sure that they receive the proper therapy that they need in this situation, fam? If they endured all of this traumatic, all of these accusations that are coming out against this individual, shouldn't that be where the focus is? Shouldn't we be focused on basically, making sure that these women are basically taken care of in a way that, can basically use their stories to kind of influence or, teach the younger women, who possibly may fall into similar traps that they may have. And maybe we could use this as a teachable moment. Removing accolades and, stats and things that I've already achieved, I don't see how that becomes the main focus when these are the accusations, right? And I'm not really even sure where I'm going with this, right? I'm not, because I'm not quite ready to defend anybody, right? I don't know Diddy. I don't. I know the music, right? But I don't know his character. And I know these accusations don't sound good, But the way this is playing out, man, it's starting to look like, man, it's just not looking good for Diddy, man. Not looking good. So Ciroc, I'm not a big alcohol guy anyway. I wasn't drinking Ciroc like that. I've had Ciroc in the past. It was cool, right? But there's a good chance I'm probably not going to be drinking Ciroc anyway. So this doesn't necessarily affect me. But what I'm saying is, I just don't really know, like, what's the real, like, the whole purpose of this. What is actually the purpose of this? What is the intent of this, right? Because it's starting to look like, listen, man, from the death of a legacy and a career to the death of a dynasty. We transition into some NBA news now at this point. The Golden State Warriors look absolutely atrocious. This is looking like one of the worst teams in the NBA at this current time. And, it is, just kind of like one of those things where now it's just like, all right, fam, let's just break them up now, right? Do we really need to continue to try to like drag this out to see if at this point, what clearly needs to be done is you break this team up. It's either going to be Clay or Dre or both. Clay and Dre is not going to be there next year. There is no way, right, that Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, I mean, obviously it's just a matter of time. And any day now, we just got a big trade over in Indiana. Pascal Siakam, went over to the Pacers for Bruce Brown, who I do feel like is being bounced around the league at this point. I want to say prayers and condolences to Bruce Brown as well, because I know that's not an easy thing for a player, right? To just continue to have to move from another city to go to another city. I'm pretty sure that that's not an easy thing to do, right? And I do feel like this is like his fourth or fifth team in 2 seasons, fam. And now he going over to another country. It's kind of like, all right, fam. Like, where is my team at this point? Like, where can I get settled in, right? So that's not an easy thing. It was rumored that Pascal Siakam was going to get traded to Golden State for Draymond, right? So clearly that didn't happen. So you got Siakam in Indiana. At this point, what's getting ready to happen with the Warriors? We don't know. What I will say is they are going through it right now. They actually just lost their assistant head coach. So right now, they just gotta, they going through it right now. They gotta weather the storm over there. I'm pretty sure that, when it's all said and done, everybody will land where they want to land, or, land where they need to land. At this point, it doesn't seem like that team is motivated to stay together, let alone play together, right? So, you break them up at this point. I will say this, Clay, I do feel like Clay still has some basketball left in him. And I do feel like he might have been playing possum, low-key. Like, maybe Clay really just wanted out this whole time, fam. But he just didn't want to be, direct about the situation. He did some passive-aggressive shit, basically, right? Like, I want out, so I'm just going to play like this. I don't know, man. He does give me that kind of vibe, too. Like, he is kind of like that passive-aggressive kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not really going to be direct about the situation, right? He going to put up a couple air balls and clutch moments until you just say, you know what, Clay? We can't continue to watch this, fam. We going to ship you off, and it's just a matter of what team is he going to go to. I do feel like he should go to Memphis, personally. I do feel like Memphis is quietly cooking up a franchise over there, fam. And if they can get a real center over there, right? Because Jaren Jackson Jr. is not cutting it for me, fam. You can't get a points, rebounds, and assists game out of him on your parlay for anything, fam. You might as well just go for the turnovers or something, fam. Like, this guy will not get 10 rebounds a game, bro. You are 7 feet tall, fam. He want to be a stretch, and he want to stretch the floor and shoot. I just feel like, I don't know, man. Klay Thompson and a center over there, because Marcus Smart, great pickup, right? And in the beginning, I wasn't really too sure about how that was going to look. I do feel like Marcus Smart fits perfectly with that team. And they're just a couple of pieces away, fam. And I feel like Klay would be a good pickup. Yeah, they lost. They lost to the Grizzlies. And they didn't even have their star players. Understand that no Marcus Smart, no Ja Morant, or Desmond Bane, and with a returning Draymond Green, fresh off a suspension, fam, your legs is fresh and ready to go. The Warriors still fell short and dropped to a starless Memphis Grizzlies team. It's about time, fam. It's about that time, right? The playoffs are right around the corner. And this might be the worst crash out for a franchise in NBA history, fam. I mean, we never even knew that the Golden State Warriors were capable of this level of just basically failure, right? And it does seem like at this point, this is the beginning of the death of a dynasty for the Golden State Warriors. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at this point, Monte Ellis might get the call, fam. At this point, like, fam, you still got them Nikes, bruh. Can Monte Ellis bring the Golden State Warriors back? I don't know, fam. I just seen a clip with Monte Ellis and Steph. You know what I'm saying? And they was in the locker room chopping it up. At this point, they might need to re-sign him. I'm not really sure why they got rid of him. Realistically, fam, I don't know. Did they make the right decision? Because Monte looked like he could still go, fam. Realistically. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's next for the Golden State Warriors. I definitely have the Celtics winning the championship. At this point, I'm not really sure. Depending on basically health and basically injuries, right? If everybody can stay healthy, I'm pretty sure that the NBA Finals will be seeing the Celtics and more than likely the Clippers. Because the Clippers is over there quietly cooking up too, fam. I'm not even going to hold you. PG just put up 50. Yeah, PG over there going crazy. You got Kawhi. They basically take turns and drop 50 on you. You got Westbrook and Harden. They looking solid over there, man. It's going to be interesting in the postseason. I still do feel like there are other teams out there that people are sleeping on. I feel like Sacramento quietly might, they might end up getting back. They didn't get too far. They wasn't too far off last season. Right? Did they get to the finals or was it the conference finals? I believe it was, right? Yeah, they got a little squad over there. I think OKC, Chet Holmgren. You got a lot of wild cards right now, fam. What else is going on out here, though, man? What's going on in boxing? What we got in boxing going on? They announced the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight quietly a couple of weeks ago. And honestly, I haven't really heard anything since. So at this point, I'm just going to assume that fight they might have just canceled it, fam. Just due to the lack of a response after the announcement. Because I really don't hear anybody talking about it. I did see Pacquiao in the ring, and he definitely made the announcement. But it's been quiet ever since, fam. I seen a clip of Floyd like yesterday. He was jogging or something like that. But like I said, fam, like at this point, it's gonna kind of be hard to rebuild and resell that kind of, that fight at this point. That's gonna be a tough sell right there. That's gonna be a tough sell, right? And then maybe I need to sit back and just wait and see how they cook up, because maybe they might be on to something. I do know that Rolly Romero versus Ryan Garcia has been announced and made official. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one right there. I think that is going to be an interesting fight. Rolly Romero, obviously, and Ryan Garcia. These are both two men who have, one thing in common. They both lost to Tank, right? And that's kind of just like, that's really what the draw is here, right? You take two fighters who fought this fighter that couldn't beat this fighter, but if we match them up together and kind of see, like, all right, who's the better of the two? So in my mind, this is kind of going to set up a rematch fight, right? So in other words, whoever wins this fight, down the line, probably will get a shot against Tank again at some point, right? And I do feel like that's going to be interesting. Obviously, Ryan Garcia coming off of a big win, in his last fight. And he did perform. It was a good performance, great performance. Rolly Romero, on the other hand, I haven't been so much keeping up with his fights. And I'm not really sure if he's actually been active. I'm not really aware of what his last fight was. But I do know that, he is a good fighter. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. And that was announced. When is this fight taking place? Is that in March? No, the Francis Ngannou fight. Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, I believe that's in March, which is about 2 months from now. So yeah, we got a lot to look forward to in the fight realm, right? In the boxing space, in the MMA space, we got a couple of fights to get to before it's all said and done in 2024, right? as far as new music, yeah. The Book of Clarence, the movie and the soundtrack is out now. I haven't gotten the chance to see the movie or hear the soundtrack. I did hear two songs on the soundtrack. I already had one of them, which was the Hallelujah Heaven track with Lil Wayne, Buju Banton, Shabba Ranks. I had that kind of, for a couple of weeks. So I was able to kind of hear that. I do enjoy that track. They have a track on there though with Doja Cat and Kodak Black, which is a crazy matchup that you never even really thought to yourself was even possible. But what I will say is this. I just got finished playing that joint before the episode, and I'm not even gonna hold you. This might be Doja Cat's best verse right here, fam. Yeah. And I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it again, fam. Like I said before, Doja Cat, in my opinion, I do feel like she has potential to kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's something there. There's something there. And, if you heard this track, what's the name of this shit? Jizu. Right. Featuring Adekunle. I'm not even going to even try to pronounce that. But it's an amazing track, though. She on there doing some of her best rapping, I must say, right? And I'm not going to hold you, man. If she could keep that up right there. Listen. Yeah. So I definitely want to hear the whole album in totality, you know what I'm saying, before I give it a full review. But there's definitely some tracks on there, though, for sure, We got Doja Cat. Speaking of Doja Cat, interestingly enough, there was a report that came out, that there's some type of allegation of abuse from her brother, which, I mean, this is not really a scenario that you hear so often, right? Usually when you're dealing with or hearing abuse allegations, it's usually a domestic situation or, maybe a parent-child situation. This is not usually the combination that we're accustomed to here, right? And there was a report that came out. I'm not really sure if anything's been confirmed, but allegedly and apparently Doja Cat's brother is abusive, and I'm not really sure like what the extent of this abuse is or these allegations are, but apparently Doja Cat's mom was trying to get a restraining order not only for herself but also for Doja Cat, and apparently what they're saying is that Doja Cat would have to go get the restraining order herself. And like I said, I'm not 100% clear on that. I just I kind of did see that and write that down on the docket. And since we're talking about Doja Cat, I just felt like I might as well bring that up. That is kind of interesting to me, though. I'm not really sure like why or what would be causing her brother to be. Obviously, we might be dealing with some type of mental illness situation here. But my thing is this: why would Doja Cat even be in a situation where she can be abused by her brother? You would just assume that she wouldn't even be in that kind of situation or scenario. I don't know. It's confusing. And obviously more details will be revealed, I'm assuming, right? Or maybe this might be one of them things where they might want to like sweep this under the rug, fam. I don't know. But like I said, this is unusual, right? We had more new music with Mary J and Remy Ma. They just recently dropped some visuals, right? And it's for a song titled, what's the name of the song? Hold on. Gone Forever. All right, so look. What else we got for new music? Mary J and Remy definitely dropped a new song, Gone Forever. And I'm not even gonna hold you, fam. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that listen, man. At this point, we got all the confirmation we need now, I guess, right? Remy Ma and Papoose are no longer a thing, fam. It's official now. Like, you get with Mary and you do that, yeah, I'm not really sure what Papoose did or didn't do, but Remy Ma is done. You know what I'm saying? With that situation. And, the video, I do feel like, yeah, I enjoy the song. Mary J, Remy. You know what I'm saying? This Mary J with that, it's kind of like the young, new energy, but it's still signature Mary J, right? I enjoyed the track, and I mean, listen, man, listen. We ain't really hear her say anything about the situation yet, but at this point, I do feel like we have our confirmation, fam. So yeah. I definitely wanted to just bring that up as well. Ari Lennox versus Joe Budden. Let's get to it, fam. What's going on with Ari Lennox right now? Ari Lennox recently, had a back and forth with Joe Budden, who is no stranger to, back and forths with, artists. And obviously, this is the thing, right? As a podcaster, I get it. I completely get it, right? You sit down in front of a microphone, you start to talk, and realistically, fam, there's no telling what you're gonna say. You don't know what you're gonna say. I don't know what I'm getting ready to say after this, fam. And I have a docket in front of me. Ari Lennox and Joe Budden recently had a back and forth because Joe Budden went on his podcast and he spoke about a situation that Ari Lennox recently, kind of dealt with on tour, and I'm not really sure. This is one of those things, again, I don't even really understand the situation fully, right? So basically what happened here? Ari Lennox was booked on tour, to perform and open for the artist, that goes by the name of Rod Wave. Now, once again, right, completely familiar with the name, not so much with the music, right? And I do know that Rod Wave is very, very popular. He has a very, very large fan base, and he's definitely doing his thing right now as far as, I do need to tap in, actually, though, with Rod Wave a little bit more. I do want to kind of hear what's going on over there, right? Because I've been hearing his name a lot, to be honest, right? And he kind of been quietly cooking up. And it's not so quiet right now, right? Rod Wave is legitimately, he's arrived, as they like to say. So with that being said, I do feel like, considering the fact that Rod Wave is a newer artist, right? And he kind of, he has his, his niche fan base and his core fan base. I wasn't really completely sure why Ari Lennox, who I do feel like has her own core fan base, right? And is very, very talented, by the way. I do need to say that. Ari Lennox is supremely talented. Probably one of our better vocalists today, right? As far as, pure R&B. I just don't understand why Ari Lennox would be booked to be the opening act for really anybody, right? But if you're going to have her as the opener, maybe if it was a Beyonce show or something like this, Alicia Keys, I would have probably understood that more. Rihanna, people who are her peers, basically, right? In music. That would have made a lot more sense. But this idea of our Ari Lennox being at a Rod Wave opening, I'm just not sure what Dreamville is doing right now, fam. And it's not so often you'll hear me questioning anything that Dreamville is doing, because obviously Dreamville is the label that is owned and ran by one of the greatest hip-hop artists of all time by the name of J. Cole, right? And there's not too many things that J. Cole does wrong when it comes to music. With that being said, I would question what exactly is being done with Ari Lennox creatively at this current time when she's in a position, that she was in recently. She basically was making, listen, man, Ari Lennox, she kind of is her own, she kind of, moves to the beat of her own drum. You know what I'm saying? To say the least, right? She kind of does have her own, her own vibe, right? She kind of has her own vibe, right? And I just don't know what so she was basically trying to explain, right? I don't even know how do you even get into this? What did she claim? So she claims that the audience and the people that were in attendance, she basically wasn't really feeling the vibes, man. She said she was on the stage and the energy wasn't really the way it needed to be. She wasn't really feeling the vibes. That led to, her basically, I'm not really sure. I think she was up there trying to pray or something at a certain point, trying to cleanse the energy. I think she might have lit some sage up there. I don't know what she did up there, but the fans wasn't feeling it. And they started booing and they started throwing things. They threw bottles and it was damn near a riot is what happened, right? They damn near put Ari Lennox in a position to get trampled on stage, fam. The crowd went crazy, and it wasn't because they was enjoying the set. So I say all that to say this. Then she ended up coming back out there with football gear on, and it was a whole thing, right? I didn't see any of this, by the way, right? I wasn't even aware that she was on tour with Rod Wave, right? Because why would she be? So fast forward, obviously, look, as a podcaster, and obviously, listen, everything ain't going to hit my docket, right? And personally, I wouldn't even have seen or heard this if it wasn't for the Joe Budden podcast, right? So maybe I understand that aspect of it, right? You do kind of have a voice, Joe Budden, to where it's like, yeah, you introduce people to a lot of different things that they might or, they may or may not have been privy to, right? Like I just said, I wouldn't have heard about this if I didn't tune into the, the episode of the JBP, right? So, I mean, basically, in not those exact words, Ari Lennox basically kind of had that same sentiment. She kind of responded to some things that Joe Budden had to say. I mean, obviously, anybody that watches the Joe Budden podcast, you kind of know that, yeah, a lot of times he says things that, you could kind of see where people may feel a certain type of way. But what I will say is this. I do feel like at this point, he's made it more than clear that, I mean, the Joe Budden thing is kind of like, Joe Budden is damn near a character at this point now, right? He's almost become a character of himself, right? And you do kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt over there on the JBP, right? There are moments that are clearly being basically used to kind of just be entertaining on a podcast, right? These guys are doing 2 podcasts a week, 3-4 hour episodes, right? It's not going to be easy to just kind of come on there and just talk about the news every week. You know what I'm saying? At a certain point, you got to spice it up. And I understand that as a podcaster. At the same time, though, you might want to, it's certain people that you should know that, they probably going to feel a certain type of way. Whatever the case may be, Ari Lennox responded. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but she's threatening to sue. And that's just kind of what it is, man. Obviously, Ari Lennox, the irony here is that obviously Joe Budden, we already seen how that whole situation played out with the initial cast, Rory and Maul, and how that kind of ended. Obviously, Rory, anybody that's been a fan of the podcast, you're aware of the fact that Rory and Ari Lennox, I'm not even really sure how the relationship began. When you think about it, Rory do be having a lot of, so that's kind of like basically they have a relationship, a friendship. So I'm not really sure if that basically plays into this. Is basically what I'm trying to say. In other words, like she might be feeling like, all right, I can't really, I kind of got to ride out with my, you know what I'm saying? If Rory my homeboy and y'all got beef. So it's just one of those things where like, I'm not really sure. Like, is it even really that deep for her to sue? I don't know, man. I don't know. Should he stop talking about her on his podcast? I don't know. I feel like as a podcaster, I mean, I'm not going to be in favor of that, right? I do feel like there's a way that you can talk about certain things and, you could kind of, you don't necessarily have to. But then at the same time, I don't feel like he said anything that was that crazy, man. I do feel like Ari Lennox is just a little bit emotional right now, fam. And we might need to just get Ari Lennox, I don't know, man. Just get a piano or something. Sit her down in front of some. We just need to get her in the studio right now, right? J. Cole working on the Fall Off right now, fam. I'm pretty sure there's a song on the album that need a hook right now, fam. Like, can we just keep Ari Lennox in the studio and away from, Rod Wave and his crazy fans? That was just a bad move. Like, it just didn't make sense, right? None of that situation made sense. Everybody Can't Go podcast. We wrapping this thing up here, y'all. We wrapping this thing up January 19th, once again, 2024. Episode 52. Appreciate you all for the pull up. We just working on the growth, man. Quality over quantity. Like I said, once again, just time management, it's something that I gotta learn in real time, and I feel like if you can put in the work for somebody else, you have to be able to turn around and put that work, in for yourself at the end of the day. The E.B.C.G podcast brand is only gonna go up from here, man. Like I said, I am fully determined and focused and locked in on the brand and more specifically the quality of the product, Like I said, I do feel like, yeah, this is one aspect of it. Obviously, there's different things I want to implement. Like I said, the YouTube page is definitely, the podcast. So, we're on YouTube now. I didn't even realize they now they have the YouTube podcast, which I do feel like is dope. So now all, the full episodes of the Everybody Can't Go podcast from episode 18 until present are all on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Which I do feel like is super, super dope, man. So like I said, man, just growth, man. And just, basically just staying locked in and staying focused, tunnel vision, man. Yeah. We not worried about what you got going on or what you doing over there, fam. We don't really got time to compare and contrast. I'm the bar. I am the bar. Willmatic TV, E.B.C.G podcast. I seen a trailer for I Am Legend 2, and I'm not even sure if what I seen was actually the official trailer, just for the simple fact that I feel like there would be a lot more promotion and talk about this. No, I Am Legend was a huge movie and a huge box office success, starring Will Smith. I did see Michael B. Jordan in the clip, which led me to believe that it was real because I've never seen that clip or that footage of Michael B. Jordan. It did seem like a legit trailer, is what I'm saying, right? So I Am Legend 2. I don't think there's a release date for it yet, but that is definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I feel like there's been a conversation going on, and it's been a conversation going on about one Drizzy Drake, right? And that's a common conversation and a common topic, right? I feel like these days, obviously Drake being the number one most streamed artist, the man has the most number ones in history, right? He got more than Michael Jackson, fam. That's not even something that we thought was ever going to be surpassed. So we do want to salute and acknowledge that. Unfortunately, what happens is, when we have conversations about this genre called hip hop, I'm beating around the bush. So Yasin Bey, also known as Mos Def, was recently on the Cutting Room Floor podcast. And, they brought up a question. They asked him, if they thought or if he thought that Drake was hip hop. Obviously, this is the 50th year of hip hop. So naturally, there's a lot of conversations being had right now when it comes to this genre. And the most recent conversation that kind of got the internet buzzing right now is Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def, on the Cutting Room Floor podcast. He was asked a question. He responded to the question, and the internet went goddamn ballistic, fam. More specifically, hip hop heads and, people who basically cover the genre, right? Now, I actually have the audio. So we're going to play the audio. Then we're going to come back with our rebuttal to what Mos Def, Yasin Bey, had to say about Drake. Let's take a listen.
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Why are you doing this to me?
I know.
Drake is
we're here
pop.
for truth. We're here for
Drake
truth.
is pop to me.
Right, that's fair. In the sense that it's charting like pop music, popular music.
In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, so it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's
Commercial music, yeah.
shopping with an edge in certain instances. Or...
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course, I mean,
It's
get
commercial, entertaining, fun, good,
it's
formulaic music that is
It's likable.
likable music, yeah.
It is.
It's likable.
But is it... I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move on.
So many products. So
many SKUs.
So many SKUs.
Okay, he went on to say a lot more than that. He actually, listen, man, this is the thing. I just feel like personally, everybody's entitled to their opinion at the end of the day, right? And I don't understand why people feel the need to come out and defend anybody. Most Def, Yasin Bey, was clearly asked a question and he answered the question. Obviously, when it comes to hip hop and we're in the 50th year of this genre, we definitely acknowledge Mos Def as one of the pillars in the hip hop community, right? Mos Def, if there is anybody, I don't think there's anybody more qualified to speak on the genre of hip hop more than Mos Def. I mean, other than the fact that, we got to just look at it like Mos Def is probably one of our most brilliant artists, right? What he's done on film as well, obviously multi-talented. A lot of people actually credit Mos Def with being one of the first hip-hop artists who kind of implemented, just the melodic melodies into the hip-hop music, right? Mos Def is credited with that. Drake, obviously, is a different version of that. And, he's very successful. And I just feel like there's a place for Drake in hip-hop, right? So what I will say is this. I do feel like Drake can rap, right? Let's just get that out of the way. But at the same time, when Mos Def is on the microphone, fam, when Mos Def is speaking about hip-hop, I just feel like Drake, at the end of the day, Mos Def is not your peer. Mos Def is one of the OGs, fam. When Mos Def is speaking about hip-hop, you best be listening, fam. And realistically, a lot of people that came to defend Drake, everybody put their Drake cape on so tight. They had the cape on so tight, they damn near was choking. They had this shit on so tight, fam. Everybody running to Drake's rescue. Oh, no, but he can rap, though. Mos Def clearly never said that Drake couldn't rap. What he was saying is, and then he made an even broader point. It's actually like a longer interview, which I haven't even gotten a chance to watch in full, right? But everybody gonna run with the sound bites, and you know what I'm saying? Obviously, 2024 just started. We ain't really get new music like that yet. So obviously there's conversations, people are, we all eager to have a conversation about something, right? We want to just react to something at this point, right? I kind of get that. The year just started, ain't really much going on. But what I will say is this, I don't feel like Mos Def said anything wrong. I do feel like in order to truly be the greatest in hip hop or in any genre, right? If you want to stand on that and you want to call yourself number one, I personally just feel like you have to be able to check off all of the boxes, right? And if you listen to a lot of the responses, and trust me, Willmatic TV was listening. I heard every goddamn episode. I heard every one of your podcasts, fam. The JBP, Ebro and Low on the Apple. I heard it all, fam. Rory and Maul. Everybody pretty much was saying the same thing. Like, Mos Def is Mos Def, But at the same time, Drake, you know what I'm saying? You can't really discredit, the numbers that he's doing. But at the same time, is he checking off all of those boxes? Because a lot of people, they'll say, oh, but Drake, he makes good music. He might not always have something to say, but he still makes enjoyable music. Well, this is my question, if that's the case, right? When we talking about hip-hop, right, and its origins, right, the genre of hip-hop, what did this thing all start on? Huh? Because if I'm not mistaken, clearly hip-hop, it all started with a message. One of the first songs was named The Message, fam. Grandmaster Flash. Like, the message is hip-hop. So how can we truly give you this accolade and give you this stat if you're not checking off the main box to consider yourself one of the greats, fam? You have to have something to say, fam. Yeah, sure, he makes great music, and I understand people that basically say that he definitely he's introduced a lot of different sounds and a lot of different. I get all of that, fam. But that's not the conversation we're having right now. We're simply having a conversation about hip hop, fam. And realistically, I don't know, man. I just feel like, I don't know, man. They don't say this about every artist. And there's a reason why they don't say this about Kendrick. And I hate to do that. And I hate to be that guy. Y'all know I fuck with Kendrick heavy though, right? That's my favorite rapper. So I gotta throw his name in the conversation. And anytime Drake's name gets brought up, my trump card is always going to be Kendrick Lamar. Because the fact of the matter is, and this is just the reality that we have to accept. Yeah, sure, we don't get a Kendrick Lamar song every other day. We don't get a Kendrick album every year like we would like to. That's, we kind of understand that Drake has been more active. But at the same time, it's quantity versus quality, baby. Kendrick Lamar checks off way more boxes for me than Drake does. I mean, it's just that simple. There is nothing that Drake can do on a microphone that Kendrick Lamar can't do. If you flip that around, on the flip side of that, you can't say the same thing about Drake. We just simply haven't seen enough Drake, basically just in that bag, fam. You know what I'm saying? He'll show us flashes of it. Yeah, certain tracks. I like Free Smoke. Right? But where's the album? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, fam. For All the Dogs was cool, what was the mixtape? Scary Hours 3? Scary Hours 3 was cool. But I don't know, man. If you're not checking off all the boxes, it's going to be hard for me to kind of, wave that flag for you. But at the end of the day, fam, did Drake, yeah, he did respond. He responded with some passive aggressive. What did he say? Umi says, he basically made a reference to, Mos Def song, Umi Says, basically saying like, oh, why can't I just shine my light? Some weak response, man. Listen, I just seen Drake in a club with a 12-year-old, fam. And realistically, that speaks to Mos Def's point to a certain degree, fam. The fact that just happened recently, and we're having this conversation, fam. I'm just saying, man. I don't know, man. Can we call Drake a leader in the genre? Huh? I'm just saying, fam. Like, at what point are you going to be the guy to actually dictate what's being done in the culture as opposed to being the guy that kind of just jumps on the bandwagon of what's already popular? Because that's basically what he does. You want to give him credit for what? Oh, he Afro beats, he's introducing it. Realistically, fam, it might be the other way around. Last time I checked, Afro beats is global, right? But Drake is global too. He is. I can't do that. He definitely is, and them numbers would definitely indicate that Drake is clearly global, right? I don't know, man. I just feel like 2024 is shaping up to be an interesting year musically, man. What we got? We already got a 21 Savage album. I'm pretty sure at this point we probably gonna get another Drake album. You know what I'm saying? He might have a Yasin Bey diss on there. I don't know, fam. You know what I'm saying? All I know is this though. They never gonna say that about Kendrick or Cole. And I feel like I've said this for my last 5 episodes. We are definitely anticipating and patiently waiting any day now. And I have my theory about, when that Fall Off album is going to drop. That's probably going to drop in another week or so. You know, January 28th is J. Cole's birthday. So we definitely keeping an eye on that calendar. What's that, 11 days from now? Yeah, 10, 9. That's 8 days from now, fam. 9 days. Yeah. So yeah, man, I don't really know if there's anything else to add to that, you know, other than the fact that Yasin Bey, you know, when it comes to hip hop, if Yasin Bey is having a conversation, if Yasin Bey is speaking about hip hop, I'm listening, fam. I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of listening, I got a few albums I gotta get to, man. Kid Cudi dropped an album recently. And I wasn't even aware of it, but I seen him. I seen an interview he had with Zane Lowe. You know, where he basically was, you know, speaking on basically this album and how it's gonna be his most impactful album. He did a good job selling the album, I will say that, and I'm probably gonna listen to that right after I'm off of this. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and edit this, put this out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think that's a wrap. Everybody Can't Go. Episode 52. Once again, E.B.C.G, Willmatic TV on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? I already got 2. I already went up on the first reel out the gate, fam. And we already, but yeah, I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm just dibbling and dabbling with all of the different, basically experimenting, right? Trying to just see where everything, you know, what lands, what sticks, what hits, what misses, you know what I'm saying? We basically just going through the motions right now, you know, of building a brand, you know, from the ground up. E.B.C.G podcast, episode 52. This is a wrap. Like I said, we are on the YouTube now. The visuals are loading. You know what I'm saying? I still gotta build this goddamn studio, fam. Like I said, quality over quantity. Yeah. You already know what it is, man. WILLMATIC. E.B.C.G. Until the next time, peace, love, and prosperity. 1.
Where is Terry?